Hello, everyone, and welcome to New Minds on the TV, the place where we bring all the things of learning to you right in your home. Today, in our segment, we have the better version of Into the Dungeonverse, Dudes with Dolls. We're going to cover historical dudes with dolls from all throughout ancient history to modern contemporary culture. So people like Julius Caesar, George Washington, and today like Elon Musk. Dudes with dolls weren't just dudes, though. There were dudettes. We're also going to cover the dudettes with dolls like Amelia Earhart and Marie Curie. All sorts of famous people are dudes with dolls that you might not even know. So welcome and thank you for tuning in to this very special episode of Dudes with Dolls. I have dolls with me here today, and we're going to use these for our adventure. So all the supplies that you need are dolls. Get as many dolls as you have, and make a huge pile in front of you. That will be our supplies for today. Alright, without further ado, let's get started in the very first episode of Dudes with Dolls. Today, I'll be using this one-armed wooden drawing mannequin as my main character. Alright, let's start. My character is walking down a road, and it is a road-like road with bricks in the road. And he is walking along when he sees something. What does he see? A gigantic, ferocious grizzly bear. What does my character do? He's faced with a giant, ferocious grizzly bear. Does he A, fight the grizzly bear, B, pretend to be a grizzly bear, C, curl up in a ball while singing the Pledge of Allegiance, or D, does he do nothing at all? I'll give you a moment to comment and decide. Let's pull up the stream now and see if that worked. All right, everyone. Thank you for participating in our little April Fool's joke today. Mr. Justin, in his Start Your Day video, put out a challenge to everyone to kind of try different things, and I latched on to his Dudes with Dolls intro that he gave me. So I just want to drop a quick little joke for y'all. Obviously, we're not switching our program like that. So thank you for being in here today. Mr. Walter is in. Kristen is in. If anyone else is there, feel free to drop a introduction in the comments, and I am more than happy to holler back at you. So today we are going right back into our quest as we have before. We're going to pick up exactly where we left off, which was at the defeat of the Cretan Bull. Some of you may have actually been defeated and had to go back and try on your own. That's totally okay. And I did want to offer the reminder that if you get stuck on an area and you don't want to just spend over and over again trying, remember this is your story, so you can change it a little bit and you can add to it. Kristen, thank you for the laughing face. I saw Justin's video and I was like, how can I respond in less than an hour? And so that's what I got. So make sure to grab your actual supplies for today, which are going to be pencil, paper, dice, any materials you have for randomization that we normally use. Hey Ben, thanks for hopping in. We're just grabbing our supplies and getting ready to get started for the day. So I'm going to hop you all over to our quest here in just a second, and then we will get started. Just got to make sure that it is up and ready to go. And it is. So grab your supplies, and we will get started for real very, very soon. We're going to cover our rules as always, and then hop into the game. So if this is your first time playing, do not worry. You can just grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil, grab a coin if you have it, or something that you can flip and differentiate the sides between, and you'll be good to go. All right. Into the Dungeonverse. So into the Dungeonverse, we have a shared narrative where I tell you a story, and then you fill in the rest. All right. Now, sometimes there are going to be points where we need to randomize what happens. Maybe it's not a guarantee that your character would be able to succeed in this action. So that's where we use things like logic and our character's specific abilities or characteristics that we've added to them to give us bonuses or penalties on the situation. So we have different ways of randomizing. We can use a coin toss standard die like a d6 or a six-sided die, just a little cube that you find in a basic board game, a d20, which is a specific die used in Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder and other d20 based systems, and then finally a randomization table, which we will show you here in just a second. This is our difficulty table. If all goes well and everything is loaded, unlike it happened yesterday with the Cretan Bowl, these difficulties will pop up whenever you actually are completing a task. This way, you know exactly what you have to roll to be successful in your action. All right, I put this up here at the beginning, so if you want to snap a picture or copy it down, you can actually run your own games. You can use this system to be like, you know, maybe you want to run this for your mom and dad or your sibling who didn't get to watch it. You can totally do that. You can use this to create your own situations. You just have to decide how difficult the task should be, and then there you go, you have everything that you need to do to see if it's successful. So this is the randomization table that I was talking about. You can fill this in, you can print off a PDF of it that we have available in some of our earlier videos, or you can make your own. So this is available for you to just kind of toss some things on, see what it lands on, and then you have your result, whether that was successful, whether it was a failure but something good happened, or it was a critical success or failure. Alright, and then as always, make sure you're filling in your character sheet, recording where you're going, because you will forget all of the different places that we have gone before too long. So write down maybe a little note. What did you do? Or what were you trying to do? And then what was the result? Fill that in. Also keep track of your hit points and weapons and skills that you've gained, because you will get to use those in later episodes. Alright? With that, it is time for us to get back into our story. So for those of you who are just joining us or who may have forgotten where we were at yesterday, we had just went to the Isle of Crete, where we went into a labyrinth after meeting with Daedalus and Icarus. They gave us a secret way in, and we found our way in to battle the Cretan Bull. This was a pretty tough fight. It was actually pretty easy for us to lose if we missed one or two times, or two or three times that could actually cause defeat. So this was one of our toughest battles that we've done so far. If you've been with us for the quest, you're going to have some boosts that you've gained. So there's always a benefit to going back and watching some earlier episodes, finding out where your character was before they are here now. But now we stand in the center of the labyrinth. The Cretan Bull is ash and dust, smoldering in the center. It's time for you to fulfill your end of the bargain and rescue Daedalus and Icarus, getting them out of their workshop, which is at the very top of the tower here. So you scramble up through the secret passageways and you find your way back to Daedalus and Icarus, who have packed up all of their belongings and are ready to leave. It's not long after that that Remy's airship, yes, you have an airship, flies up outside the tower, causing a huge amount of distress for people who are watching down below, because they haven't seen something like this before. Even though they do live in mythical Greece, this is still a little bit frightening. You are all able to hop on the ship and take off with no issue. No one is trying to stop you. The Cretan Bull has been destroyed, and people are just now discovering this. So Daedalus and Icarus are there with you. They say, thank you so much. The new minds saved us with the parachutes, and now you save us with your airships and your heroism, so thank you. And he will go downstairs, or down below deck, and they'll start unpacking their supplies. So you leave the isle behind. And I did want to go ahead and show a little bit of a map. I meant to actually pull this up yesterday, but we didn't. You are all, this map is in Greek, I believe. So I can't read all of it, but this is Crete down here. If you see my mouse, I'm moving it back left and right. That is Crete, and that's where you're flying. That's where you're flying from. Now, Mount Olympus is all the way up here, and if you remember, Hercules' home, it was pretty close to Mount Olympus. You passed it on your way. So Hercules lives right here. So you are going to travel all the way from Crete north over that the Mediterranean peninsula there and back to Hercules' home. Just wanted to show you that map. I tried to find one that didn't have a lot covering it, but I was unable to do so. There's some landscape of Greece as you pass by, soaring in the air. Daedalus and Icarus are happily unloading all their supplies, checking out all of the neat things that Remy has on the ship. Remy is asking them not to touch things and trying to fill them in on all of her rules, because she has a lot of specific rules about where you can wear shoes, how many times you have to knock on the door frame before you go in. But they seem to be enjoying it because they are free and they're flying in the air. You even hear Icarus say, "This is so much better than the wings." And Daedalus kind of gives them a dirty look from their last experience. But finally you arrive at the home of Hercules. He asked you to use his Roman name because that's what most people know him by. And you see Hercules there, and he's waiting for you. He's already completed his task. He has a second lion pelt now, and he greets you and he says, "Hello, welcome back. I've got the second Nemean lion already. Ready for the next task? We can knock these out in maybe, 3 days?" He laughs a big, like, thunderous laugh whenever you respond to whatever he says, or to however you respond there. And he says, "Surely you must be tired after the battle with the bull. Why don't you take some time to rest? I will train and prepare for the rest of our journey. I have to talk to Daedalus about what he's going to do for us for our next task." He waves at Daedalus and Icarus, who are just now getting off of the ship. So at this point you may rest. If you are just joining us, you should have full hit points because you're going to start at 20 out of 20 hit points. But if you've been playing with us, there is a chance that you are running low on hit points at this point. So make sure that at this point you can raise yourself back up to full hit points. Some of you might have a bonus that you actually have 25 hit points. But right now you are able to rest in Hercules' home and regain all hit points. So you are back up to full health. Alright, I'm going to check the comments while you all rest. Alright, Mr. Justin says, "So funny, can't breathe, can't breathe." I love it. And Mr. Walter says, "We're going to check out Greece and Mr. Walter around the world today." So that is very exciting. I am looking forward to getting some actual visuals of real Greece, which we have had some in our show. So when you rest, does your character sleep easily? Does sleep take a while to come to you? Do you toss and turn? Do you have nightmares about the battles and the horrors that you've seen thus far? Choose how your character experiences this moment. Do they sleep like a log and they just lay down and pass out? They don't even think about it? What is your character's experience with your journey thus far? Has it been fun and invigorating, or has it been a bit of a trial? Has it been something that they have to do, or they feel that they have to do? This is where the story comes out of my hands and into yours, because I'm not creating these characters. I'm not creating all the awesome people who are going around. But then it's time to move on, and you take off on the airship once more. You can imagine that that's water over the deck there. Just wanted to give you a visual from being on the deck. And you start traveling through the air once more. Hercules has told Remy where you're going and spoken with Daedalus, but hasn't mentioned to you yet what the task is. You're going to see Daedalus working on some network of rings. There's 3 different rings, and they're kind of bound together by these wires and rods. You're not sure what it is. But eventually Hercules is going to come to you, and he's going to say, "So, the next task is going to be a fun one. Well, I think it's going to be fun. Are you familiar with Hades? Yeah, god of the Underworld. Can sometimes be a bit of a gloomy, murky guy. So last time I had to do these trials, well, one of my tasks was going down to the Underworld, going down to Hades itself, and taking his dog, Cerberus. Yeah, 3-headed dog, barks a lot. And I had to take it back up to the king I was working with, and then I had to take it back down to Hades. And it was totally unharmed. I took great care of it. I filled it up before I took it back. It was in great condition. Here's the thing. Cerberus has gone missing, and Hades thinks because I'm the one who took it before that I'm the one who took it now. And I want to be able to explain this to him, but he's forbidden me from entering his realm. He's a god, so he has that ability to do that. So what we need to do is find Cerberus, which I think I have done, and we need to take him back to Hades. But I can't do it, so you need to take him back to Hades. You can decide how excited you are about this task. Maybe you're looking forward to a new opportunity to meet a fantastic creature. Maybe you're a little grumpy at Hercules for kind of bumming all of his tasks off on you, or at least some of his tasks. I'm going to be dropped off taking care of one of the other things. I have to stop and get a belt. from the Amazons, and then you take care of this, and we'll meet up again, and we'll tackle the last couple tasks. Sound like a plan? Hercules seems like he's thought this through, and he's decided that this is going to be the action that we're taking. So I'm pretty confident that he's outside a city here, Cerberus. I've heard about this three-headed dog, and I'm thinking, how many three-headed dogs can there be? Greece is not that big of a place, is it? So, we're going to land you there. Oh, you're going to drop me off. We're going to land you there, and then we'll meet up again. Sound good? Before you maybe even fully articulate your response, he's going to clap you on the shoulder and he says, "Good, see you soon." And he's going to run and jump off the edge of the ship, just going straight through a cloud. Remy's going to look back and did you do that? Don't push people off the ship. That's rude. But he meant to do that? Oh, goodness. Wow, he seemed to stick the landing. Okay. Well, he told me where we were going. It's just up ahead there. And Daedalus is going to come up to you now at this point, holding what you recognize as a set of 3 collars. He says, "So, based off of the measurements that Hercules gave me, I was able to create this device that if you place it on one of the necks, because he has 3 heads, then it will stabilize the other, attaching it to this leash, I call it. It should give you extra control, well, some control over the massive creature. So just put this on his head, and you will be good." And at this point, Remy is kind of banking down and landing in a clearing. Hercules tells you about before you're kind of moving in, you're going into that spot. Hercules told you a little bit about the time that he grabbed it. So there's a picture of his past. Go ahead and mark in your character sheet where you're at right now, and then we're going to continue on. As you land in that mountainous area I showed you, you see this creature walk out and peer at you. It appears that this is Cerberus. You don't have a lot of time to think. You act immediately, and you put the collar on it, causing it to kind of freeze and yelp a little bit, but its necks come together, and it seems to be a little more stable. Now that you have this Cerberus, this 3-headed beast attached to your leash, it's tugging and pulling, and it's taking all you have just to hang on. You're going to have to get this thing from where you're at all the way to the entrance to the Underworld that Hercules indicated to you. Remy is going to be standing on her ship. She goes, "That is not coming on my ship. Absolutely not. It has nope. You are walking it." And she's pulling up the drawbridge. She's like, "You are going alone. I will follow above." She takes off, and she's like, "And I will pick you up when you're done." And now you are left here with this dog tugging at your leash, leaving you kind of exasperated, perhaps, as you figure out what to do with this creature. It starts tugging you through the woods, and you're trying to lead it the direction that you're going, or that you actually need to go. It's bumping into trees, it's stopping to scratch its hind end or its side on a trunk. It's digging little holes. It's all that you can do just to keep it moving in a kind of one direction. This thing is all over the place. It's picking up sticks and fighting with the other heads, trying to get the stick from the other. It is an absolute mess. You see a city coming up on the horizon, and the smell of freshly cooked food begins wafting out into your area. You can smell there's meats, there's probably bread, there's all sorts of delicious aromas coming into your area. You notice that not only you have picked up this new scent, Cerberus's noses are going crazy. He's sniffling and snuffling, and it's at this point that you're seeing the leash doesn't really seem to fit right, which is strange because Hercules gave the measurements to Daedalus, so it should be exact with such a good engineer. And it's as you're noticing this that Cerberus jerks and launches away from you, ripping the leash right out of your grasp. Cerberus has ran away, going straight toward the city, apparently to get some food. What will you do? Will you chase after him, try to get ahead of him and cut him off, or just wait for him on the other side? Take a moment to decide. What will your action be? Remember, try to think about the character action, the action that makes the most sense for your character. I'll give you a moment longer. Will you chase him, get ahead of him, wait for him on the other side? In a second, I will turn the page, and we will see what the difficulty and results are for each of these actions. So this is where the randomization elements will come in. Remember, if you're watching on your own time at home, you are able to pause whenever I move forward and finish making your decision. Those of you who are with me live, you kind of got to think a little more quickly. So last time, chasing, cutting him off, getting ahead, or waiting on the other side. Make your decision now, and if you're watching at home, go ahead and pause because we are moving on. All right, difficulty and result. Let me move my screen for us so it's a little bit easier to see. If you chase after him and you fail, you are going to take 4 damage. So you're going to take 4 hit point damage. So you're going to subtract that from your total, whatever that total is. This is accounting for maybe all the stuff that he's knocking down, or maybe you grab onto his tail and you're dragging behind him, and that causes you to be like, a little bit battered. You can decide what that damage looks like for your character. If you succeed, though, you're going to catch him, and the town is a little bit more damaged because if your dog has ever gotten off the leash and you've tried to catch him, chasing them makes them run more. And so this is exactly what happens. He's kind of snuffling at when you chase after him. He's snuffling on at a bench, just eating some things, and as soon as he sees you, he takes off again, destroying some more things as he runs. So the difficulty for this one is hard, which means you have to do 5 coin tosses and get 5 heads. On a standard die, you got to get 6 or higher. So if you have any bonuses to this from your character, you can add those. D20 is 16 or higher, and on the table you got to roll twice and take the worst of the 2 options. All right, so that is for chasing after him. The town gets destroyed, but you are able to catch him if you succeed. Then we have getting ahead and cutting him off. If you fail, you're going to take 8 damage because he is going to bowl you over and just run right over you. You might get ahead of him and you try to stop. Maybe you set up a trap or something. If you fail, he's going to run right over you, trampling you a little bit, knocking you down. You'll take 8 hit point damage, so make sure to subtract that from your total. If you succeed, you're going to stop him, and the town is a little bit less destroyed because he just goes from one stall to another, grazing and eating a little bit. He's not running frantically away from you, so that makes it work out a little bit better. That is a medium difficulty, so a little bit easier than our hard. You have to get 3 heads in a row, or on a standard die, a 4 or higher. On a D20, a 12 or higher, or on our table, just roll once and take whatever it is. So that is for getting ahead. And then if you let him be, you actually don't have to roll anything because you're not doing anything. You're just walking to the other side of the city and waiting. The result is the town is very destroyed. He ends up getting into a lot of different things. People start chasing him. So the same result as that first time, except you're not there to ever catch him or stop him. So he just continues destroying things until eventually you see him being chased out of the city by an angry mob. They have torches and pitchforks, and they're running after him, and he's just very happily kind of prancing out, and he's got like a whole hog roast in his mouth, and they're fighting over that one, and he's going to come scampering up to you, and this is going to be your opportunity as he tears into that you can grab his leash again and continue leading him all the way to the Underworld. You continue walking through the forest with this big slobbery dog thing walking after you. Does it look a little bit different in your mind from the picture that I showed you? Does it look more like a pug or a Doberman? What is your envision, and how do you envision Cerberus? You walk through the forest. Maybe he wants to. Maybe you try to pet him. Maybe you try to make friends with him, or maybe you're just pulling him along. You get to choose how you're dealing with Cerberus and kind of what your mood is generally, or what your character's mood is. But it's not too long after you're walking, maybe 3 or 4 hours, that you're able to keep going at a go and stop. But he's pretty happy from romping around in the city, whether you caught him or not. He seems to have enjoyed himself. And then, as you're walking along, you see this massive, gnarled tree. It looks huge and twisted and intricate. And Cerberus desperately desperately wants to go over there. He is pulling so hard at the leash. He is like digging his feet into the ground. This is yet another challenge opportunity. You have choices here. A great trial awaits. As Cerberus tries to get to this tree, will you A, pull him away, B, distract him, or follow his lead and let him go to the tree? Take a moment to consider what your options will be, remembering that there are consequences for each. He's snuffling and growling lightly. Do you pull him away, distract him, or follow his lead? Remembering Cerberus is a very powerful dog. He guards the Underworld. He's got 3 heads. Can you really distract him? I don't know. Following his lead, does that seem like the best idea? Alright, if you're watching on your own time, go ahead and give it a pause because we are going to move on. If you are watching live, I hope you have decided if you're pulling him away, distracting him, or following his lead. Here is our difficulty and result. If you attempt to pull him away, well, guess what? He's a massive 3-headed dog. This is very hard. You're going to need to get 6 heads in a row, 9 or higher, rolling your d6 twice, a 19 or higher on your d20, or rolling 3 times and taking the worst on your randomization table. This is a challenging one. If you fail, you're going to lose 10 hit points as he just yanks you right over some roots and rocks, battering you as you're trying to contest this massive creature's strength. However, if you succeed, this is going to make Cerberus more obedient, and he's actually going to listen to you very well for the rest of your trek with him. If you attempt to distract him, now this is a kind of fun one. If you attempt to distract him, you actually have an opportunity to unlock a previous skill. If in an earlier episode you gained the Ferocious Beast Feeder skill, that is going to make the difficulty for this one medium rather than hard. So there's an exciting thing for you. If you fail, you're going to lose 7 hit points. Maybe he's going to nip your fingers or pull you down as you're trying to distract him. If you try to distract him with food and you have this skill, like I said, it's a medium instead. If you succeed, Cerberus becomes more happy and you are able to continue on your journey. And then finally, if you let him lead, the result is that a dryad who inhabits that tree is very upset, as Cerberus will do what dogs do when they find a tree that they think smells particularly interesting. He will raise his leg, and I'll let you infer what follows after that. And now Cerberus will actually listen less than he did, and you're going to lose 5 hit points as you feel a curse of the dryad settle in on you as you walk away. She's just like, so gross. Because after Cerberus marks the tree, he will be happy to continue on. So remember, go ahead and get your results, but remember on distracting him that if you have the feeding Ferocious Beast skill, this is a medium rather than a hard, which would be 3 heads, a 4 or higher, a 12 or higher on the d20, or rolling once and taking what you get on the table. I'll actually go back and show you the medium from our other slide. So there, if you have feed ferocious animal feeder skill, there's the medium difficulty for you. 3 heads, 4 or higher, 12 or higher, or rolling once. All right, hopping back up to where we are in the story. How did you deal with Cerberus here? Did you let him lead? Did you pull him back? Did you succeed if you did those things? You continue through the forest. Maybe you are very tired of Cerberus and his antics, or maybe you're enjoying this break as this dog is happily walking with you through the forest. But then the forest, well, it starts to change a little bit. and you think that you may have gotten a little bit closer to the place that Hercules referenced. The trees become gray, the air becomes cold, a fog fills the area, and Cerberus wags his tail a little bit, but he also puts his ears down. You're not sure what to think of this, but you can tell as you look behind you and around you that you don't see the outside world anymore. It's just a misty, foggy haze, as if you've been pulled into a realm beyond the mortal plane. As you move further forward, you realize this to be true, as you see a ferryman, one that you recognize to be Charon, as Hercules indicated to you. Your hand moves to your pocket, feeling the coin that Hercules handed to you, and remembering the words he said before he jumped off the ship. Make sure to pay for your passage across the river Styx. I hope you offer the coin to the ferryman, because that's the only way you will be able to cross. When you approach and hand him the coin, he will gently take it with bony skeletal fingers, slipping it somewhere inside the shadowy folds of his robe, before he gestures for you to have a seat on the other end of his boat. Whatever conversation you may try to start, whatever information you may try to glean, you get no response from the silent ferryman. He only rows. He only moves the boat along. And when you arrive at the other bank, as you pass through the river, stalactites hanging low towards you, the dark water rippling with unseen shapes beneath it, you'll eventually arrive at the other shore, banking. When you do, he will simply gesture for you to go to the shore, holding his hand out silently. He will wait. If you try to attack him or do anything violent or antagonistic, he will simply disappear into shadow. You will find yourself on the shore. And you are deep within Hades at this point. You walk, and you walk. You see long, winding tunnels. You hear haunting songs creeping through the halls. And you feel out of place, like you don't belong in this world. And you continue moving forward, until eventually you see in the distance the only place that it could be, Hades' palace. Cerberus whines lightly. He just seems generally confused. You're walking over the rocky crags. Black obsidian cracks beneath your feet, and you feel a rush of air. You see something moving over off to the side. You look to investigate. Cerberus doesn't seem to react. Not right away. When you turn and see the shapes moving towards you, you recognize that they're actually a bunch of shambling skeletons. Cerberus hops off in the direction of the palace. Maybe you let go of the leash on purpose, or maybe it slipped out of your hands as you were distracted. But you're in the Underworld. He can't get too far. You need to deal with this. The shambling skeletons are moving quickly in your direction. What do? Do you draw your weapon and fight them? Do you hide behind a cluster of rocks? Or do you accept your fate and do nothing as they rush down upon you like a torrential downpour? Decide your fate, adventurer. This will be our last decision for our episode today. For our mythology buffs out there, there are a few people who have traveled to the Underworld and succeeded in this in Greek mythology. One I find to be particularly interesting, as he did so through his power of song and music. Can anyone drop in the comments what Greek hero traveled to the Underworld using music as his main ability and skill? Drop that in the comments below. See if you were correct. Alright, I've given you some time to decide. Are you fighting these skeletons? Sorry, are you fighting these skeletons, hiding from the skeletons, or doing nothing? If you're watching on your own time, of course, you can pause here and decide what your action is. But if you're watching live, I hope you've determined, because I am going to throw up the results. There they are. Alright, let me move my screen so you can see. The skeletons rush past you. If you fight them, they are going to react in fear and anger, moving away from your attacks. Just like, why? Stop. And they're going to continue rushing in the direction, leaving you totally unharmed. If you hide, they're going to pass by you without noticing you, just moaning and grumbling about how hungry they are. Or do you do nothing? If you do nothing, you just stand there, they're going to move around you and grumble. Just, why are you standing in the way? Get out of our way. And they're going to move past you, leaving you totally unharmed. Depending on the way you reacted to them will determine the reaction of the individual that speaks to you next, who you will recognize as Hades. The three-headed dog is standing next to him now. If you tried to fight them, he's going to say, whoa, 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 calm down, buddy. They are dead. They cannot hurt you. It's just lunchtime. They're hungry. Same thing if you hide, but he's going to kind of laugh at you a little bit. He's going to come up behind you. He's like, whoa, are you scared they're going to get you? Don't worry. They're calm for the most part. They're not going to do anything. Why are you here? And if you did nothing at all and let them pass around you, he's going to look slightly impressed and say, most people get a little more skittish when they see the dead rushing towards them like it's dinner time. It's actually lunchtime. They're just hungry. What are you doing here in the Underworld? And did you bring... Pointing at the three-headed dog. You'll probably at this point explain, I was brought here, or I was tasked by Hercules to bring your Cerberus back to you, so that way you had Cerberus back. And he's gonna kind of look at you for a second, and he's like, well, my Cerberus is missing. Yes, that's true. And I did think Hercules did it. He sent it back. Okay, well, here's the thing. That's not my three-headed dog. So, I don't know where you got this from, but it's not my Cerberus. He's going to reach into his toga, and he's going to pull out like a small leather fold, and a like row of pictures or something is going to come out, and he's going to show you a picture. And I guess this is my buddy. This is little Cerby here. See? And he holds it up. So pretty different, but he did have scales when he was a... She was a puppy. Oh, that... Hold on a second. And he's just gonna kind of hold his hand to his ear. He's gonna say, hey, Hercules. Yeah? Did you... Okay, so... you found another. Well, I think that is actually her. Okay, yeah, I got your friend here right now. Uh-huh. He says, good job. Okay. All right, yeah, that's fine. Just bring him down. It's okay. It's okay. All right. Who are you, you little scratch-ons? Are you my little puppy? He starts playing with the dog before he stops and looks at you, and he's like, so, this isn't my Cerberus, but thank you for bringing it. I think you can find a home here, little guy. I appreciate you helping out. Hercules, he's good. I told him he's unforbidden. He is welcome to come back down here again, though no one ever really visits. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm being rude. I'm a terrible host. Are you hungry? Do you want anything? I got water from the river Styx. Pomegranate seeds? No? None of it? All right. Fine. Well, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you coming and bringing Cerberus back. But at this point, you can, you can go. I'll just walk through that door, and you will be back up to the real world. All right. Bye bye. You can leave. And then once he thinks you're gone, he's gonna start going back to scritching the scaly Cerberus's chin and oh, you're a little guy, you're a little guy. And then if you're still there, he's gonna look at me. I told you to leave. Go. And push his hand, causing you to fly back through this door and be gone, back in the underworld. So record how you dealt with that situation. What was your reaction to meeting the god of the underworld, meeting Hades himself? If you chose a patron, a Greek patron, to kind of take favor to your character while you're here in the Greek realm, and it was Hades, how was that reaction or that interaction a little bit different for your character? If Hades favored your character, he would probably talk to you pretty differently. So I'm curious, what do you think that was like? Do you think he gave you anything? Maybe he gave you an item that helps you be invisible, like his helmet, which was his special item. You can choose, but record in your sheet how you dealt with things and how you handled it. And we will end our story there for today. You have gotten Cerberus back to Hades. You've completed yet another task for Hercules. You are ready to meet up with him. What tasks will you tackle next time? What beasts will you fight or slay? What myths will come to life before your very eyes? You can choose by putting in the comments what trials or what paths you might want to see. We can visit different myths by your choice. Let us know, and we're more than happy to include your choices in our story. But with that, we'll wrap up our story for today. So, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today for yet another episode of Into the Dungeonverse. I have a lot of fun being here with you, telling these stories, sharing my love of myths, of storytelling, and of gameplay as a whole. It is a fun experience for me, and I hope that you enjoyed as well. I'm seeing some more comments come in. I see Run Away and Fight from Mr. Vodder, two very different paths. If you're just coming here at the end, make sure to hop back at the beginning to see our little April Fool's segment that we popped up with. If you haven't checked out Mr. Justin's Start of the Day video, definitely go over there and take a look at that, because you'll get to catch his kind of funny opening that inspired Dudes with Dolls today. So thank you for tuning in to some real inspired learning. Remember to always pursue your passion until it becomes your talent. This has been Mr. Adam with Into the Dungeonverse. Up next is Round the World with Mr. Walter, and he said we will be going to Greece today, so make sure to tune in and get some visuals for our quest. All right, thank you for being here, and we'll catch you on the next quest. You have a great day and great rest of your week.